So it's been like 4 to 5 days, I suppose, I think, since the Warriors traded for Chris Paul, and I still cannot comprehend that it happened, actually. It just does not feel real at all, man. And when you see those photoshops of Chris Paul in the Warriors jersey, and when you see him talking about the fit, I don't know, man, it just feels like I'm in a simulation. You know, in the Matrix. Somebody call Andrew Tate. No, please don't. Please, just, no. Fuck that guy. Anyway, I already got off track. So I want to, kind of put this into perspective, just do a story time a little bit, while also talking about the fit of Chris Paul on this team at the same time. So let me take you all back, man. He thinks he's J. Cole. So when I was like, I'm pretty sure it was 8 to 10 years old.
Let me take y'all back, man.
I used to play a lot of NBA Live. It was NBA Live 08 and NBA Live 10 on the PlayStation Portable, on the PSP. God damn, those were great times, man. Those were some great times. And, back then I was a Kobe guy. I absolutely adored Kobe. I loved Danny Granger, funny enough, because he was, like, I think the second best small forward in the league, and I felt like, loving LeBron and Kobe was, a little too cringy, or I don't know how to explain it. When I was younger, I thought I just should like one of those guys. It was just like with Messi and Ronaldo back then, where it felt like you just have to love one of these guys, when it's really just not that serious and really stupid to think like that. But hey, we are the products of our environments, I suppose. And I hated Rudy Gay. I absolutely hated Rudy Gay, because I could not do a 3-point challenge with him. And I still can't find a video or something anywhere on the internet where, somebody has the 3-point challenge with him. If anybody could find it, please send it my way, because there was the crown stuff where you did some challenges and then you had some missions that you could do, and I'm pretty sure it was there. I'm 100% certain there was a Rudy Gay 3-point challenge, and I just could not win that 3-point contest with him at all. And I absolutely despised it. It is still one of my most haunting, memories ever. Okay, I'm obviously overblowing it, but yeah, I would love to try it again. I recently just found my PSP, so maybe I should be able to get it running again, get some old ass battery in it, and just try to win the Rudy Gay 3-point contest challenge somehow. And of course I knew Chris Paul because in these games he was one of the best rated point guard in the game, the best rated PG, and I always wanted to trade for him in the GM mode. I don't know how it was called back in the day in NBA Live, but yeah, I really wanted to trade for him every time because I wanted the best players besides LeBron. It's really weird how brains work when you're young, and how adjusted you are to your environment. But anyway, I'm getting too philosophical again. So I used to rock with Chris Paul, I used to rock with Kobe, I used to rock with Danny Granger. I'm pretty sure Andrei Kirilenko was one of the best players there. Kevin Garnett was awesome. Who else was actually awesome as the center? Andrew Bynum was really good, because I played with the Lakers a lot since I liked Kobe that much. And who else was there? Gasol, I suppose. You had obviously a lot of other good players, but I'm pretty sure, I remember most fondly, Kobe and Danny Granger, and it was all the other guys. So that was my start with the NBA and with Chris Paul. And, I barely knew anything about any of these players. I just liked them in the game. So then I stopped playing NBA Live because the PSP broke, and it also felt like I had to love football here in the Czech Republic instead of basketball, because it just felt like I was too different. I was too weird that I didn't love football as much as basketball. And then in 2016, at the end of my elementary school, I don't know how to say it, in the 9th grade, when I was 15, I fell in love with basketball again, loving Steph Curry and the Warriors, and I thought LeBron was winning everything back then in reality he was not winning everything. And I just loved Steph Curry, I just fell in love with the team, and I finally, got around to back to the basics, back to my roots when I, loved basketball as a younger dude. And then I started watching highlights, then I came across this Chris Paul game winner against San Antonio in Game 7 of the 2015 first round or 2014. I'm not sure what first round it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. and I thought it was the best thing ever. On one leg, insane, like, I don't know how to explain the move, right? He hit that floater type shot from his, right leg, fading away from Tim Duncan, and it was just so special to me, especially knowing the background and the backstory, and I was in awe. I absolutely loved that highlight. I rewatched it like a million times back then. And then I got more and more into basketball, into NBA Twitter, into overall just watching games, following what was happening in games, seeing highlights, seeing, stuff about players and stuff. And the more I was on socials, the more I hated Chris Paul, because in Warriorland, everyone hated him because, well, he was a rival. And, when you look at him through some perspectives, he's somewhat of a dirty player. He's somewhat a trick. He, gets annoying. It is just that simple. And I'm not sure how generally he was perceived, but since I was mostly on Warriors Twitter, I sided with them in hating him. And, when he played against us, he was always annoying. So it makes sense. And now I'm more of a mature person. I'm, working on myself as a human being in and of itself. So it's much harder for me to genuinely hate somebody besides Dylan Brooks, I suppose. And yeah, Chris Paul would be on that list also, but now he's a Warrior. And, it felt like everybody hated Chris. Haha, shout out to that show. And hence why this trade is just this more absurd, this more shocking, hilarious, and fun at the same time, right? It just feels like, I don't know if full circle is the right word, but something so strange about it to me. And, knowing my background and how I fell in love with the game of basketball and how I loved it back in the day when I was a young guy, when I was 8, 6, 10, and, barely watching NBA actually, right? Because, well, from the Czech Republic, barely on TV and at night. So I just, followed the games, followed this Czech site that had all the results and the transfers and everything. It was called transfers on that site, which is just hilarious, and I used to follow it a lot. And yeah, it was actually great times, right? Much grateful that I became a fan of the Warriors and how it happened, because I got to experience championships, even though I essentially became a fan throughout the 2016 season, but I rooted for them in 2015. So it was kind of absurd. But just like with my Liverpool fandom, when I became a fan in 2013, you could say I rode the bandwagon. I don't care, I'm gonna be a fan of these teams forever, and hey, whatever you think is your opinion. And they lost the title on the Gerrard slip and everything. It felt like everywhere I went to like a team, they just failed, and it also brought me that much closer to them, and made me root for them even more. And then, here we are, making videos about this, just storytelling for fun and for, entertainment purposes in and of itself. And now you have Chris Paul on your team. And the saying goes, you love the guy when he's on your team and hate him when he's not. And, I don't generally tend to agree with that, because the more I watched basketball and the more I watched Draymond Green and stuff, I generally don't like him. I don't hate him, but I don't like the guy, that's for sure. And that's completely fine. I'm grateful for what he does for the Warriors, and I understand his value, but at the same time, I don't have to like the guy, right? Now you see Chris Paul talking about the Warriors and how he'll fit in, and you see, obviously, the stuff about Draymond resigning, and yesterday the report goes that Chris Paul will start, which I think would be absurd, but hey, we'll see what happens. I would really love to see him be the bench guy and, come off the bench, which could preserve his body also for the postseason. and help the young guys around him with Kuminga Moody if they are on the roster, and whoever we sign in free agency. Trace Jackson Davis could benefit from him. All of these guys could really benefit from CP3 off the bench and elevate that bench play when Steph is not on the floor, which of course would be awesome. And also the veteran presence added, as Steph said it, and the win now move, which, you know, felt like a shot at Jordan Poole and also didn't at the same time. I don't think Steph really meant it as a shot, but it is also hilarious to see, you know, we are in win now mode and Chris Paul can help us do that when they won, you know, last year with Poole. Even though, of course, circumstances, Draymond punch, everything, we all get that, right? But yeah, it came out wrong a little bit. And now here we are, Chris Paul interviewing about him playing with the Warriors, everyone reacting to it, you know, saying he has pain in his eyes, he does not want to be here, he does not seem excited.
Chris, what is your reaction to being traded to Golden State today?
I'm excited. I got that question I don't know how many times already, so I'm really excited.
Do you have any message to Dub Nation?
I'm excited. And you know I've been sort of the sworn enemy for a long time, but I cannot wait to be there, and I cannot wait to get in the locker room with all those guys. So appreciate y'all, and we on the way.
So you tell me if you can read body language, but I genuinely think he actually seems excited, and obviously he's been on a book tour, he's been traded like 3 times already pretty much, waived, traded, however you say it. So I genuinely actually believe him as in being excited because, hey, he could win a championship, and that's all he wants at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts about the move, let me know, you know, if you want. You could share your stories, how you came about with basketball. It might be way more interesting than my story, but I don't know, man. I just felt like sharing this. I just felt like making this, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And for some people, it could be interesting. For some, it will be absolutely useless. That's how it goes, and I'm more than fine with that. Let me know your thoughts about Chris Paul move. Let me know your basketball backstories, and I'll catch you all with free agency looming.
We're going to be championship.
Thank you, Leandro. Awesome.
All right.